All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are now going to talk about the Cowboys and their hype returning this past week, especially because of what's been going on in the NFC lately with how the 49ers have kind of just been falling apart as of late. Obviously, you got the Eagles, who are still, up there, of course. They're at 7-1. They got the best record in the NFC. But the Cowboys, after coming off of a bye week and then the previous week winning against the Chargers 20-17 in LA, they dominated against the Rams in this game from start to finish. I was paying close attention to that game, listening to the Cowboys radio broadcast, so I was able to listen to that game from start to finish this past weekend. And yeah, this game was, it was close at one point when they kicked off to start the game. But but in all seriousness, it was 7-3. So the Cowboys on their first drive, the penalties kind of helped them out, but they went 10 plays, 75 yards, and they got a touchdown to start the game. Dak Prescott connected with tight end Jake Ferguson. And then the Rams, on their first drive, they went down the field, kicked a field goal. Cowboys then kicked a field goal. And then Matthew Stafford threw a pick six on their first play of their second possession. And then there was a safety. The Cowboys blocked a punt. So, yeah, not how you wanted to start a game for the Rams. And then from that point on, the Cowboys just dominated the game. Dak Prescott had a good game, 25-31, 340 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. They ran the ball for 102 yards. Tony Pollard only had 53 yards. I feel like next year he can have a better year. I just feel like he's still trying to work his way back from the injury he had last year against the 49ers in the playoffs. But we'll see if they make any moves to try to bring in another running back. So they ran the ball for 102 yards. But CeeDee Lamb, he's the one that had a spectacular game. 12 receptions for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks had a touchdown in this game as well. His second of the season. He had one against the Chargers a couple weeks ago. Ferguson had the touchdown, like I said. And the Cowboys, that was the game. And listen, the Rams are getting 6.5. Then the line went up to 7. And I said, that's fishy, because I feel like I would take the points in this game. But I'm like, you know what? I've been doing very bad in the spreads. I'm going to keep the Cowboys, and they're good at home. Let's see what happens. And the Cowboys destroyed them. They really did. And, they at home, they've been great this year. They blew out the Jets. They blew out the Patriots. And now they blew out the Rams. Now they go into Philadelphia, which is a big game. That game and the Sunday night game are huge games. So we'll definitely talk about them later in the week, of course. But what do I look at with the Cowboys? How do I look at the Cowboys? Now, I think they're a good team. I think they will make the playoffs. But until they show me something, I'm going to take the stance of it's going to be the same thing that it always is every year. They're going to get to the playoffs, and odds are they probably get knocked out in the second round. Now, they got the defense. They got the receivers, obviously, CeeDee Lamb. Tony Pollard, I think, is still a good running back. I just think he's having a down year right now. And I kind of blame part of that for the injury. But I think ultimately what is going to hold this team back is their quarterback, Dak Prescott. I just don't look at him as a guy that's going to lead this team to where they're supposed to go. Now, I think he's a solid quarterback. I don't think he's bad by any means. I definitely think that it's hard to say that he's better than he was his rookie year. I think he is better in some aspects from his rookie season. What I think he's gone backwards in is turning the ball over. That's where it's been a problem, because his rookie season, he didn't turn the ball over that much. Now, all of a sudden, he's throwing more interceptions. And that's a problem. And I think that's going to affect them when they get to the playoffs and they try to, make a run at the Super Bowl. And I just think right now, I still put the 49ers over them, even though the 49ers I don't know what's going on with them right now. I put the Eagles over them still. And I put the Lions over them. So the Cowboys are probably 4. Well, between them and Seattle at the moment. I think I'd probably put the Cowboys over the Seahawks at the moment, but they're definitely close. Unless I'm missing anybody. Yeah, because honestly, I mean, I'm not taking anybody from the South. The way those teams have been playing this year and how inconsistent they've been. I would say those are probably your teams right there. You got the Eagles, you got the Niners, the Lions, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks. Those are your teams right there in the NFC. So, now, like, how it currently stands, the Cowboys, they're coming off of a great week. The Niners aren't. But listen, I still think the Niners are going to get right. And they're going to be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC record-wise. Now, right now, I would say Philadelphia is the best team in the NFC at this moment. They're playing well. They rebounded from that bad loss against the Jets. And listen, they were down early against the Commanders, but they were able to come back and win that game. Because that's a team, for some reason, has given them a ton of problems. So, now, listen, the Cowboys, it's typical where, like, they come off this big win and now everybody's talking about, oh, man, they're back, right? Now, you look at who they beat at home this year. Now, the Jets are 4-3, but their offense is still not very good. So the Cowboys, that's a game you win. You dominated the Patriots, which you should have done because the Patriots are not very good. Although, they've looked somewhat better the last 2 weeks. But now another injury. Kendrick Bourne, their wide receiver, was actually having a good year. He tore his ACL, so now he's out. So that's a weapon that's gone now for Mac Jones. And now you beat the Rams. And, yeah, I guess the Rams just, they're not really that good. They last week they lost that bad game against the Steelers. I think they're a team that could make a wild card, but I don't know. I just feel like they're kind of they're on the downside right now with how they've been playing these last couple of weeks. Because you get Cooper Kupp back, you think like, okay, now this is where they're going to start clicking on offense. Right now they're kind of one-dimensional because, Karen Williams, who was having a really good season for them, he got hurt. He's on IR. So now you got Royce Freeman. You bring back Darrell Henderson. So running the football is a problem. Matthew Stafford, again, got hurt. So we'll see, what happens with that. Yeah, it's that's a game the Cowboys, they dominated, and you just look at the Rams and you're like, well, I guess the Rams really aren't that good. They kept it close with the Niners earlier in the year. They kept it close with the Eagles. Cowboys blew them out. So I don't know what the Rams are right now. I guess they're kind of just, they're like a middle of the pack team. Might win like between like 6 and 8 games. And now Stafford's hurt, so you don't know how long he's going to be out, if he's going to miss any time at all, but we'll see. But they do have the Packers on Sunday, so you would think they should win that, the way the Packers have been playing. Cowboys are good at home, though. They what really, like, even though they've beaten teams that they should beat, they put up 30 points, 38 points, and now 43 points or 44 points. Yeah, 43 to 20. Yeah. They're good at home. But now you're going on the road against Philadelphia. This game will tell me a lot because now you're going to have both starting quarterbacks playing against each other. You're going to have Dak going up against Jalen Hurts, and we did not see that at all last year. We saw Jalen Hurts against Cooper Rush, and then we saw Gardner Minshew against Dak Prescott in Dallas on Christmas Eve. So now we're going to see both of these teams going at it with their starting quarterbacks. Eagles are, looking good offensively. They've played well at home. We'll see what happens. If the Cowboys win on Sunday, then we can have a conversation. But if it's another one of those, you come off of a huge win, you're going in to Philly, and you lay a dud, it's going to be the same thing that it always is. Not going to be taken seriously. So this game on Sunday is really important. This is a statement game right here. And if Dak Prescott plays really well in this game, that's big for him too. That is big for him too. And it's going to be a tough game for both teams. I give the Cowboys a chance to win this game, although I'm not leaning towards picking them. But the Cowboys, they got the defense to keep it close. They're dealing with injuries on the defensive side of the ball, but you still got Micah Parsons, of course. And he can wreck a game. He could take it over at any time. And, the Cowboys, they got the wide receivers. The Eagles' secondaries have been a little suspect. I mean, they gave up almost 400 yards passing to Sam Howell. So Cowboys can move the ball against the Eagles' defense. They just got to go out and do it. But if they don't, I think if they lose on Sunday, I'm just saying it's going to be most likely because of their quarterback. Because you look at the quarterbacks going into this game. Most people are going to take Jalen Hurts over Dak. They just are. But we'll have to see. It's one of those. It's a big game on Sunday. It's one of the big games that I talked about. Obviously, we'll talk about it later. In the week. But I think especially when the Cowboys come off of a win like this against the Rams, you're going to have people that are obviously going to, be like, oh, here we go, they're back. But I think it's different with this week just because of the 49ers, how they've been struggling. So now everybody's like, oh, well, that opens the door up for the Cowboys to be considered one of the best teams in the NFC. Now, they're a top 5 team in the NFC. Like I said, I'd probably put them at 4. I would put them over Seattle. But I'm not putting them ahead of the Lions. I'm still not putting them ahead of the Niners or the Eagles, obviously. But, we'll see. We'll see what they can do on Sunday. Like I said, we'll talk about it later in the week. But, yeah, of course, after a big win at home against the Rams, who don't look like a very good team right now, of course there's going to be hype. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it when talking about this segment. Let me know what you guys think, how the Cowboys stack up against the rest of the teams in the NFC, or any other thoughts you might have regarding this segment. So with that, we are going to take our second break of the show. But first, I want to remind you guys, when it comes to becoming part of the show. So once again, I want to remind you guys to tip or donate. And get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link, streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, it's a great way to become part of the show. It makes the show a lot better. It's the interaction between myself, the host, and you, the viewer. I highlight your comment during the live broadcast, and really, it's a great way to improve the broadcast and improve the show, make it more interactive. And that's really what this is all about: is interacting with you guys, the fans, of course, of the show. So yeah, the following link, once again, streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And again, it's also on the ticker on the bottom of the segment. So when we come back from our second break of the show, we are then going to talk about the NFC South and where that currently stands after Week 8. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.